Will do enjoy good do. All right. Twitch is not showing me as live yet. Oh, no, there it is. And YouTube. All right. I think we're all live. Welcome to Code Hangout number 224. We're going to finish the ISS, the interactive Sudoku solver format import today. And by finish, I mean I'm going to get it pushed to beta, but not have complete coverage of all the features. So there's, in the puzzle importer, I had always planned to support multiple demo puzzles, and currently it just picks the first one. So even if I uncomment all of these samples, it just picks the first one. So what I'd like to do is I want to do kind of what he has here, basically just have a drop down of the samples. So next to puzzle type, maybe we can just put it next to puzzle type. Let us see where the puzzle type drop down is. Puzzle type, import link puzzle type, don't see it here. Puzzle type. So somewhere this stuff gets added. Create tab, load type editor, get named element, type element. Now the type element, init type selector, create options, load type editor, GS puzzle type. Okay, so load type editor. So we're assuming the puzzle type element already exists. Puzzle importer, preview, puzzle type is here. So if I do this, and then I'll say, if I say sample puzzle, sample puzzle, what? No, puzzle sample. So if we do something like this, it goes roughly in the right spot. Is there some CSS we can look at? So tabs, content, tabs. If I go to preview section, editor section, I don't know if I want to. We probably want to have a class around this. Div class equals editor header. So if I do something like this, right? And then we can do something like editor header label margin right 1 rem, something like that. Padding. It's funny how here it doesn't select. Yeah, maybe 0.5, something like that. Hey Keith, how are you doing? Yeah, so far so good. I wasn't quite sure what I should stream about since I have some important things I need to deal with. But I'd like to finish this as well. It's been bouncing around my head for a couple of weeks, so it's time to conclude it to some extent. Okay, so that gets us there. So now, load editor type. Let's figure out exactly what happens when. So we have this. And where else are we looking at puzzle type? Just here, huh? No. We're definitely also looking at it when we're adding new puzzle type. I'm guessing we're basically, I'm saying when a type gets added to this list. where does that happen? You see, like, how does this list get populated? So here, excuse me, my nose drippy drip. Puzzle import types. So where is that being used? Get type info in its type selector. Puzzle import types. Create options. So they're definitely getting loaded here, and then the type editor gets loaded there. Okay. And then the load type editor, we basically can do that here. Index 0, type value, get type info. Okay. So that'll be the type info. And then, does that already contain the samples? Maybe it does. Defaults. We probably want to rename that. So, defaults. Is that used all over the place? We want that to be case sensitive. Defaults, okay. If I change this to samples, let's see, examples, defaults, examples. So that should already break. Right. So, and I'm guessing it breaks around here somewhere. Defaults, examples, examples, example. Well, we can call it defaults. Defaults is the defaults for this particular type info dot examples. Type info examples. Type info dot examples and 0. What's going on here? Examples 0. Defaults equals type info dot examples 0. 65. Oh, okay. So other code that's also using this stuff. Yeah. Examples. Boom. Now, obviously that'll break for all the other type, for the all the other importers. So we need to kind of go back in here and rename all of these. And hope we're not using defaults anywhere else. All right, examples, defaults, examples. So now if I search for defaults, classic, examples, and fog link, examples, because we have multiple here. And nope. Build settings. Build settings. Yeah, that's nothing to do with us. And that's fine here. Okay. All right. So now we want to populate this. Basically similar to here. So somewhere around here, we want to kind of do something like this. So load examples. Can do this. I think we can just put that in there. Oop. And then we can just say after doing this, we'll just run load examples type info. Right. Does it make sense? And then here, that will be our new new element. Let's bring this to the front. So we're gonna have to look into this. So the new element is puzzle sample, puzzle example, puzzle example, example. Sample makes sense. Example, example. I don't know. Sample is to sample something, like try something out of many. Example is to represent, like, example I guess is technically more correct. Hey myself, how you doing? What do you prefer, sample or example? I mean, it's probably one of those ADHD things where it really doesn't matter. My brain just pays attention to the wrong thing. But, you know. And we want to basically turn this into type label, kind of like that. And create option does what? Value label, yeah. So examples, and we want to turn these into title index, I guess. So we'll do map, and we'll just grab title and IDX, and we turn that into, well, I guess we can turn it into create option. IDX. We can just do this example underscore this, and then title. Right? So that will be our HTML for this, really. We can just do that and join it like that. And then here, this will be example EL. Like that. Right? And then that gets us these. Sure. But now we need to have a event handler as well, which is this thing. And that'll be example element. Does this ever get loaded more than once? It might if I do this wrong. Handle. Because this gets called again when we do this, so we have to be careful about this event handler. Handle example change. Do this. Handle example change event dot target dot value. Right? And if I do this and then change this, we get that. But if I change this and then do this, and then go back, will it now have to? It doesn't appear to. I wonder why. Does this thing get rebuilt? Because we are changing inner HTML. Maybe that strips the event handler? I'm not sure. So if I switch here and then I switch back to ISS, load type editor, load examples. This worries me just a tiny bit. Should I can just remove before. JavaScript all script only add event listener if not exist. I don't know if that's an easy way of doing that. Yeah, I don't think so. I guess we'll just want to remove it first. I guess that'll kind of protect us against some browsers doing things differently than what I'm expecting. I'm wondering if changing this rebuilds the HTML somehow. Yeah. And we probably want to trigger that as well. Now, it probably doesn't need to memorize which example was last used. I'll probably add that later. It'll probably annoy me that when I'm testing, it kind of switches back and forth. And for now, we want to separate this part. So load type editor, load puzzle data. Puzzle data. Right, I don't think that needs to be async. Right. And then here we'll just execute that on example 0. Like that. And I don't think we want to do any of the other stuff here, because the refreshing should be part of the puzzle data loading. Maybe not. Maybe not, actually. So, get puzzle URL. Yeah, that's part of this. Or is that part of refresh preview? This probably needs to be in refresh preview. We need to think about that in a sec. So first, we have the puzzle data here. This overrides from the query string. So that's the other problem. If I load it in from the query string and I then switch it, we probably want to either somehow ignore the query string. So we kind of want to have a query string option here. So we almost want to add from query string, which is the equivalent of blank, right? So we almost want to say, instead of doing this here, we want to add we basically want to have a blank option here. Well, we kind of want to add 2 items, right? So we probably want to do this. And then we'll want to have the indexes won't be right if I mess around with these. So this part, we're going to split it out for a sec here. So we're going to map these title index, and we're going to swap them to this structure, right? And now we'll have label first, or value label, like that. Make it independent of the indexes. That goes in here. Value label, right? So that should be equivalent to what we had. Apparently not, because of this extra brace here, right? And now we can take this and add some other items in there. So at the start, we can have one that's blank, blank, oop, blank puzzle. Except the blank puzzle is actually not actually blank. I'm almost thinking that should be part of the... Well, what I'm thinking is a blank puzzle might actually need to have data filled in. Like, it might literally just break if everything is blank. So we'll probably want to have a new puzzle as part of the example data. So let's add query string. From query string. If I put that in here, that'll be the first one. It's kind of the default. Except we probably want to check if there's data in the query string. And if not, then we'll switch the default to another one, I'm guessing. So, what does that look like? We kind of have to special handle that. Or we dynamically add the query string to the sample data. Or is that going to mess things up? I'm thinking like, we add it to the query string, then the indexes will be off, but the handling will be easier. But if I want to be able to load a particular example from the URL, doing that might not be great. But having this option there when there's no query string doesn't actually make sense. So how do we detect if there's a query string? Okay, I mean, that would be the best thing to do, obviously. So if I do this, and I think I had a sample here somewhere. Maybe it's in my query. Yeah, this one has data in the query string. So if I do this, and output what's in the query string here. Okay, and if I look into this, it'll look like that. The question is, can I detect if the query string has a sample in it? If I validate it against our examples, it would require all of them filled in, which is not necessarily what we expect. I could also say that maybe a new convention that the first example should be a blank puzzle. So new puzzle. No. What are the defaults for no author? I'm pretty sure somewhere I'm parsing for that. No title? No name? No author. Oops. Find author. Where am I looking for? Oh yeah. In the solve counter algorithm. So solve counter, somewhere here we're detecting, yeah, untitled puzzles. So it's unknown, untitled. So let's reuse those. So untitled, unknown. Well, default rule set, that's fine. No source, no constraints. I don't know what no constraints look like in no solution. So if I do this, I need to actually get the algorithm, the code back to the point where it's actually loading a puzzle, right? So let's do that first. So forget this for a second. We do this, load puzzle data. Type in, for example, 0. Load puzzle data. Load puzzle data, blah, blah, blah. Type info, yeah, forget that. Forget that for now. Params is params puzzle data. Right. Puzzle inputs includes, yeah, okay. Untitled, unknown, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So now we can sort of make a new presumption that the first puzzle, the first sample should always be basically blank. But it should include all the keys, I suppose, because that's kind of how we find the keys. No, the keys come out of here. So technically, could we just do that? If I do this, right? And I just automatically attach this as the first example. So first of all, let's get rid of this. Second of all, when we're loading this, we're also gonna add this here. So we can say something like const blank puzzle data equals this. Something like that. And then we'll just add that here. Why am I doing all of this again? So we always have a blank puzzle at the top. And the whole point of the blank puzzle was to give us a reference for puzzle data, which is now stripped out if I make it the same for all of them. So that's silly. That's kind of silly. I'm trying to think, does it make sense to have a button that says blank puzzle? Probably not, because if it doesn't load with empty data, if it doesn't work, then having the data empty doesn't really do anything. Although it might make sense to have a button to empty it out. And the query string part should load automatically. And I don't think we want to rely on the query, like we don't want to validate the query string. Hey Chameleon, how are you doing? I'm trying to implement multiple samples for the puzzle importer, so it makes it easier to include multiple puzzle samples, because I think that's a super useful functionality. And I just started trying to do it too elegantly instead of just doing it. So what I want to do right now is I want to see if there's data in the query string, right? So here we have data in the query string, which is this. Here we don't have data in the query string. So I want to say, if I take QS and then I say delete QS.puzzle type, will that work? Yes. And will it work for this? Yes. Now, is this a regular object? Size, length. Yes, because we converted it to a regular object over here. So I guess I have to just do this object.keys length and greater than 0. Boom. So if we do this, true. If we do this, false. Right. So, load examples happens here. So we kind of want to do this here. QS puzzle data. Delete QS puzzle data. And then that'll be our qualifying statement. So if this is happening, we want to add. So yeah, const type info, examples equals type info. Now, if I push into this, I'm modifying type info, which I don't want to do. The point I'm trying to get to is that I don't want the indexes to change. So I want this label to be, I basically want this to be down here. I can maybe add the QS data separately. So if we're doing that, right? So if I say then, if I could actually just push that here. Like if I just add that here, right? And then I can say QS puzzle data over here, boom, boom, boom. So here, QS puzzle data is empty. Here, QS puzzle data is whatever, right? And then we'll just say if blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. QS puzzle data length is greater than 0. Then we include this, else we don't include it. No, undefined. Const, yeah, const example. You know what? Const here. Example options equals this. Oh, where were we? If this options dot unshift, I think unshift. We'll do that. Options dot yada yada. Console.log options. Right? Options.map. Options. Examples.map. Options. And here, no query string, example 0, and here, query string, example 0. Okay, so that does the trick. Right. So that's happening here. Don't need to worry about that anymore. Just doing that. Boom. Okay. And now we want to default to the first one, which it already does. We don't actually want to do that. We want to run the change handler. Or here we want to load, right? So here we want to do load puzzle data, blah, blah, blah. Event target value. Event target value. So if instead I want to force it. So here, handle change. Target value. Whoop. Value, and the value should be whatever the first element is, right? Options 0, 0. Target value. Yeah, and yeah. And now we got to convert that back to the actual stuff. And the query string here, we're not currently recording the, like, example we can find. Query string, I guess we can also find. Do we want to do that in here? I'd rather have the list stored somewhere. Is it fine to have this list stored here. Because I'm thinking right now, if the query string changes, like, do I want to just push it into the examples in and then have that appear on the list here? Or do I want to have I probably want to have a separate list that I update at this point, right? So we have type info examples. It annoys me because I don't want to use titles to identify. And internally, they don't have IDs, right? But maybe what we really want to do is we want to have type info dot puzzles, right? And we'll basically copy these, but we're adding the IDs. So we basically want to say we want to have, we're going to use the title, we're going to add an ID, right? And we'll just say object.assign ID. Like, we want to do that. Example IDX. We're assign this to data. No, add data to this, so we're not creating clones or anything like that. And that's our object assign call. And that's that. And then we'll do this later. So we want to do that here. And then here we want to output type info.puzzles. And I want to output type info itself as well, just as a double check. Right. And here we have, do we have too many braces? No. We shouldn't have, because that closes the map. And then where does this break? Let's close this for a sec here. Why is... Oh, wait. Yeah, that's not part of the const. That's gonna go here. Like that. Nope. After argument list. Data. Assign. Close. Like that. So, type info. Now we have examples, and the examples will be the same. Sorry, we have puzzles, and the puzzles will be the same as examples, but with the ID element added. And then here we're gonna add this type info dot puzzles dot unshift, and it'll basically be a thing. Okay, and we want to do label as well, because I want to have a different label for this. So we're going to have ID. We're going to have label, which we're not using here. Actually, I'm going to underscore that, because the examples might want to use some stuff like that later in the future. And the label would be example data.title. Right. And now we want to create a new thing based on the query string data, which I believe should have roughly the same format as one of the examples. So it'll be something like this. And then here we'll have the same object.assign, which we'll finish here. But this is gonna have also an ID underscore. That's gonna have underscore ID and underscore label. Also a string. And then it'll have the puzzle data. And then we kind of want to output this down here and see what that looks like, right? So now this should have a first item with all this empty. The label will be from query string, and then we'll just put QS puzzle data dot title, and then this will be just query string. So if I do this, we should have a first item now where the ID is query string, and it's whatever is coming in from here. And with label query string ISS demo. Yes. That's basically what I wanted. And then we just fill that in from this instead. And now we want to pull out underscore underscore ID, underscore underscore label, and that'll be here. Underscore underscore ID, underscore underscore label. Again, super over-engineered, but now I can do all sorts of things here, and I don't have to. Yeah, now here it says query string example, and other things can go into here. And now, if I say this, basically, dot ID, underscore underscore ID, like that, it should load this in, or it should try to load this in, let's say. And we can double check that now. It says query string, right? But now we should be able to get our type info here. So if I do this, type info.puzzles should now have what we're looking for. I think, right? Type info.puzzle. Type info.puzzles has this, right? So we can do type info.puzzles. Event target value. So type info label equals that. All right, and now we can just do a find data dot label equals label. That should find us nothing. ID, not label. ID. Boom, boom. And now that should get us this one. And if I change it, it should get us this one. And now we should be able to just load that in with this thing. So, boom, boom, boom. Puzzle data equals. Right? And then we'll figure out what happens if somehow this all goes wrong. So now we get load puzzle data, which I think also just created, and I don't think is fully functional yet. But it looks like it has what we want. Except this doesn't seem right. How do these look like? Puzzle inputs is empty. Why? Because we're doing it too early, because we haven't done this stuff yet. All right, tabs. Type info tabs, edit JSON tabs. We'll just do this. So we load type editor, I guess, makes sense here. Tabs we don't need separately. This we don't use for anything else either. So we can just do that here. And then that can just go before load samples. Boom. Ha. Aha. Aha. Okay. So load samples probably shouldn't do this then. In fact, wait, load samples, handle sample change, load puzzle data. Yeah. We don't want to route that through. Yeah. So we do load examples. It shouldn't load an example. So don't do that, right? No, it should, but we shouldn't do that. There we go. Okay. And then here we should say load puzzle data, type info dot puzzles 0. Okay. Do this and that. Okay. And then load puzzle data should do the refresh preview here. Like that. Right. And then here we have something in the query string. Here we don't have anything in the query string, so it just goes straight to example. Okay, so that works correctly. So load puzzle data is quite simple. This now becomes kind of simple. Do we even do the puzzle data thing? I suppose we do. I suppose that makes sense. Just do that here. Do that there. Do that there. This becomes a bit simpler, I think. It just kind of does this. It just does a little bit of query string finagling here. Do we use the query string over here? No. Then maybe this should happen in here anyways. I think so. There's no reason not. Don't need that anymore. And we don't need that. And any of that. Right. Type EL. That's a const. IDX is not a constant. Okay. Okay. Type info. Load examples, load puzzle data. Don't want to do that here. Is there anything we need to remove here that's redundant now? Puzzles is that here only if we want to add an extra one. So that takes care of the query string loading. That becomes the query string becomes one of the examples. Fine. Maybe we rename it from example puzzles to preload puzzles, maybe something like that, just to include query string. And now we should be able to get rid of this, and this, but we still need to deal with that. So that's redirect long. If we have and redirect equals long, if this was still in here, get editor puzzle. I think we have to do load puzzle first, because get editor puzzle depends on that. Ah, but we don't have the query string now, right? So annoying. I'm almost tempted to just pull it back down here. Like load examples maybe shouldn't be its own thing. Like maybe that makes sense to just be part of this. So then we can Or I can just create a new query string. QS.redirect. If I say... This is really just QS, right? And then if I mean, I can just create this twice. It happens one time. No big deal. We'll just do that. Yeah. So then it just becomes a redirect. It still needs to load everything first, so... whatever. Whatever. Alright. There's probably a more elegant way of doing that, but for now, that's fine. If I go back... Without the long, it does that. Okay. Redirect long. I'm not even sure what that means. But not what I'm going to worry about right now. Okay. So. That gives us these. Now, do they work for the others? They probably break when I have a query string for a puzzle that doesn't work with the current type. So we probably want to verify that the type in the query string matches the current puzzle type. Yeah. So we don't actually want to immediately strip out the puzzle type. We'll probably want to do this. It's greater than 1. Right? If I output the query string here, and I do load examples, is this going to happen each time? I think so, right? So I do this, and then I go here. Load examples gets called a second time. And we should be able to verify something in here. So this is query string. Let's label that. Query string.puzzle type. Let's label that as well. And then we also have type info, which I don't know if type info contains a type. Yes. So type info.type. These should match. Now, if I change this, they should no longer match. Okay. So we only include the query string if it matches the type info type. So if this is equal to that, and the length of that is greater than 1, then we load from the query string. So if I change this, it should ignore this. So this becomes part of, hey, by the way, this is the type it is, right? Okay, so that works. And I think that's should be fairly robust, actually. And this is all functionality outside. Now, do I want to update any of these other ones? I probably don't want to manually do labor right now to add additional examples. But for example, this one already has 2 examples. So if we go to killer, we have 2 killers that always existed in here. So the ones that already had 2 examples, we can just do this. You know, and we might want to in the future clean them up a little bit. So these, I don't know how foglink works. I don't even know what that is for. So if we look at foglink, elements removed, trigger effect, example undefined. I forgot what this does. Short ID, trigger effect, elements removed, already foglinked. Refresh. So do I want to label them manually? That is the question. Examples. This is all wrong. This is just plain wrong. So these need to be in their own things. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Oops. And I'm going to be lazy for now, so I don't blow my time on this stream. I'm going to call this title... Is it title that we're... I think we've normalized on title. Oh, wait, we do need commas back here. So we kind of want to do these in front of the comma. Yeah, in front of the commas. And then the titles need to go in here. And then the labels get generated. Ooh, let's make sure I don't make a mistake here. So if I do these, I don't remember exactly how FogLink works, but I am a little worried that there might be a disconnect between the sample data and the puzzle data, right? But now we have multiple samples and it does load them. And they're different formats. Elements removed. I don't remember what this is for. Elements removed. I mean, now is not the time to debug this, if it's a bug at all. It's just worded strangely, like I don't understand. So I think elements removed is simply like a report on what happens under these circumstances. Because this basically has trigger effects here, right? And then this says elements removed. Elements removed. What the heck was I doing here? Elements removed, puzzle JSON, remove log. So remove log. Hey, work for some. Is this work for some university? No, this is for SudokuPad. This is on SudokuPad.app. This is just a tool for easily importing a variety of sort of simple formats into SudokuPad. I would like to eventually include Mark TechFan's Penpa importer as well as one of these options and kind of centralize all that in one place. And also a way of open sourcing conversion code and documenting formats and things like that. And in fact, in the future, maybe I will outsource the fpuzzles importation through this external piece of code so it doesn't have to live in the SudokuPad as a native format. Remove log. So, 1 second. Insert trigger effect. Edit log. Remove. Keys. Edit log.map. Filter. Insert trigger effect. Effect. Cell value. Fog light. Cage. What the heck am I... What did I do with this thing? I should have documented this. Extract trigger effects, right? So extract trigger effects just says... Trigger effect. Fog light. So it means if a value is inserted here, it does that, sure. Which means these cells are cleared by an effect. But why does it have all the other styling in there? Insert, remove text cage cages, trigger label. My God. Why is this complicated? Text. The text elements here. Text. Remove text. Cage cages. Remove. So on cell value this. Text. Filter. Text. Why is text an array? I have a feeling this is not correct. Made this into an array. Text came from where? Text. Trigger label, test value. So trigger label. We're testing on text. But where does this text come from? It's initialized empty. Are we looping through something here? Text.length is greater than 0, but text is initialized. Oh, it's default. Okay, wait, sorry. All right. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay. Text. Did I add something for text triggers? Or is this just some stupid backwards compatibility with one of the weird formats I'm internally supporting? Because text here always seems to be empty. But then it doesn't make sense that text... Oh, because I was cleaning the format up? Is that why? All right, now is not the time to deal with this. I think what happens is this was... I mean, I imagine what this was like an editor for just specifically editing the trigger effects in the final JSON. So if I change this... Oh, no, I can't even edit this. This might literally be... This was just an info thing? Informational? Because I can't edit that either. I don't even remember what this was for. Maybe it's not done. Short ID. Put the short ID in. I get that. Maybe I was building an interface to analyze the trigger effects to do something with, and I just never finished it, and I don't even recall what the point there was. So that's not great. All right. Well, we should also be able to now bring this back. Now that we can have multiple samples, right? So if I go back, if I go to classic, examples of hard. So we have an example now of these options not being used, which is good. Okay, so that already works. We don't have to change anything here. Don't know why that's open. And here there's only one summarized Sudoku. Okay, that's fine. ISS is no, it's this one by Sai. Interactive Sudoku solver. It's the format used by... Yeah, it's the format used by the interactive Sudoku solver by Sai. Yeah. Even with just notes in a text file, to be honest, sometimes. All right. So, what do... Okay. Let's see. PR is not defined. PR. What are you talking about? Oh. Yeah, there's something... PR is not defined. I'm using something for JSON pretty printing, but I feel it's not working, and I don't know exactly why. Did I exclude it? Did I remove it? Is it supposed to work? Is it not supposed to work? I'm not even sure. Am I excluding it currently? Is this not working anymore? Prettify. Run prettify. Okay. Is this being changed? Code prettify. Is this changed and it just doesn't work anymore? I'm pretty sure to use it, I was supposed to use PR or something. Getting started. Sure. Pretty print. Large example. So if I recall, I had to add that in there somewhere to reset or reformat, and that obviously doesn't work. And now it's working. Why was it not working a second ago? Is it not? What 1 second. I don't like this. There's something that's not perfectly stable. Convert killer. Convert killer. There's some logging. Killer. Puzzle. All right. That's working. Then why was I getting an issue before? Now it's working fine. Jigoku format. Okay, there's a bunch of logging in there. That's fine. No PR errors, just the localhost errors. Okay, that's all working. And if I go back to here, and then I go through these, that all seems to load fine. Okay, I don't know why the PR thing didn't work, and I'm guessing now this will work. So I think it's because it's remote loading it from the CDN. And maybe I shouldn't do that. But I'm already paying so much for server resources, so these are the things I'm supposed to be using. Do I really want to self-host this sort of thing? I mean, it's probably not super complex. How big is this? How big is this? How big is it? It is not that big. So if I save this, in here, in here, in here, in here, as run prettify. Horrible place to put it, but okay. And then I changed it from this to run prettify. Like that. Is that gonna work the same? And now it's prettified. Okay, we'll just do it local. I think I'm just gonna leave the comment in here as well. And now we can go back to here. And what I wanted to do since the start is to look at these examples, which are, can I just grab them? Sudoku solver, JS solver, nope. Data example puzzles, because maybe I can bring them over in the same order. I mean, I did do a bunch of cleaning up of my own. So let's see, if I put that there, and if I put that there, and I change this to tabs, as it should be, get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay. So how does this differ from mine? So all of name should be title, all right? So all of name should become title. All of input, and let's do the whole thing. All of this should become constraints without the extra line breaking. So if I do this, and all of nope, replace all, and all of just input with, why does it change it? I hate that it changes it down here. That's so annoying. All right, replace all. So input should no longer appear. Okay, so we have title, constraint, solution. So that far, it's the same as what I have. Some of these don't work, but there's a lot of them. I don't want these to be multi-line in my formatting. A lot of these, oh, maybe they need to be. Okay. There's so many. That's more than what's on the site, isn't it? This list is it that long? Doesn't feel that long. Is it that long? What's the last one? Relic cages. Do we have 6x6 relic cages? Yes, we do. Because I did a little bit of on the examples that I pulled over, I kind of opened the puzzles and pulled the authors out and all this stuff. Not for all of them. So for example, if I look at this or this, right? And if I look for that here, it'll be this one, right? And then I open the puzzle and I got the title out and it's a bit different from this, right? And I kind of want to do that. I didn't do it for all of them though. So for example, I don't have an author for this, but maybe it's because they don't have an author. Like they could be really old puzzles. And in fact, oh, no, I was going to say it doesn't exist. No, that does have an author. So this is an odd even Sudoku by, no, this is the Clockwork. Wait, what? Oh, it's called Clockwork. Okay. You see, so I guess I need to go and clean these up now. Shaman. And then the next one would be this one. Yeah, now this one, for example, I couldn't find a Sudoku pad link. So I don't know. I don't even know if I can find an author for this. In fact, I didn't even find the post for it. X Sudoku Extreme. So that's the post. That's the subject. But I'm on page 3 here. And I don't know. X Sudoku Extreme. Windoku P309. So I'm guessing this is the specific post. Have fun. So this one, somebody just posted this. Let's see. So Xpendoku, right? It's not that one. So did people like work on this together? This one. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't just include them all because I don't have permission for these. I don't know who these people are, and some of them have nothing to do with Sudoku Pad. I mean, this is not exactly Sudoku Pad either, so let's see. Private bill, blah blah. Is this puzzle? It looks like it. 6, 7, 8. So maybe that's why this is what he gave as a reference. 19 only wrote. So if I look for this string, going back, if I go to the first reference, okay. I don't know if he is the... I don't know if this person is the author, so I don't... Okay, so let's change this to unknown. So I want to be careful that I don't attribute things that aren't somebody's specific puzzle, you know? And I don't actually want to like double check the data on stream right now either. So this would be Richard Solk, and that's here. Okay. So let's just go back earlier to puzzles where I hadn't done this yet. So for example, Fortress Sudoku, you know, I don't think I've brought this through. So here, where did I put the source? Just under rules. So I'm just going to do that. Open it here. It's by Clover, so we definitely want to attribute this correctly. And I'll probably remove this. Greater than all orthogonal neighbors. Yeah. So now this is kind of the point. So this is, you know, I don't know when she did this, but she didn't use modern conventions. But if we go here and we open the Fortress Sudoku, by, you know, it internally just generates the sort of more common style of the little arrows and creates a sort of what I'd like to think of as a higher quality version of the same puzzle. So if I compare these two, you know, I know which one I'd prefer to play. Did something seem to be jumping around? Are these zoomed slightly differently? Yeah, they were zoomed slightly differently. Wow. The puzzle was still in the same spot, which is quite interesting. But that's kind of the point. I'm trying to remember, was this hard? Is it worth solving it on stream quickly? This one needs to be larger than all the ones around it. So this needs to be a 5. Right? Yeah. We 1, 2, 3, 4 around it. 1, 3, 2, 4, 2. This needs to be larger. So this needs to be a 9 with 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8 around it. Nope. 5, 7, 5, 6, 8, 7. And then this one needs to be bigger than that. This one needs to be bigger than that. So that needs to be 7, 8, or 9. So it's a 7. There's a 6, 8, 5, 7. Okay. This needs to be bigger than all of these. Could be a 9, could be whatever, a 6. This needs to be bigger than 3. This needs to be bigger than 4, but these could be the same. So bigger than 3. So it needs to be at least a 4. And it can only be a 4. Which means these have to be from 1, 2, and 3. 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 3. Right. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, 9 needs to be here. So that makes this a 5, 6, and an 8. Cool. And then this is 2, 3, 4, and a 9. 9s can't be here. This can't be a 2. This can't be a 9. 2, 3, 5, 4, or 9 here. And that would be a 5. So this needs to be, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that needs to be a 5 or higher. But it can't be larger than the 6. Okay, so the 9 has to be here and here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if this is a 5, that's a 6. That's gonna strain things a little bit. 3 and 9. 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9 can be here or here, but could this be a 3? I guess it could be. Just. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then these, all the rest. So 9, again, is on the diagonal here. These 3 are from 6, 8, or 9. So we have our 9 here. So that is a 1, 2 around that 3. And this can never be a 5 now. So 2 and 5 are the 2 digits we need still in this box. And this has to be a 6. Okay. Here we have only 4 digits missing. Right. Not super helpful. Let's do the bottom row because we have that extra fortress there. That'll help us resolve it, hopefully, somewhat. Yep. 5, 6, 3, 4, 7, and 4. So this needs to be bigger than its neighbors. This can't be a 7. So that's a 4 or 7. Can be a 4? No. So that's the 7. And then these can be whatever. And let's do the top row the same way. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 7. Oh, that's a 6. So this has got to be a 9. All right. Plays the 9, but doesn't tell us much. The larger the digit in the fortress is, the less it reveals about its neighbors, of course. 1, 8 over here, which means that's a 9, and that's a 5. And I think that's almost all fortresses are resolved, except for this 7, which gives us a 1 here, which I did not expect, I'll be honest. Okay. And let's just do these in a sensible order for speed and efficiency. I'll be 4, 6, and then up here we'll have 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Here we'll have 2 and 3. And then here we'll have 8 and 9. And then here we'll have 6 and 9. Scanning up and down the column. And then here across the row, I see I'm missing 1 and 5. And then I'm just looking where the 7 can go and the 8 can go. And that's this puzzle. All right, so that works. Let's go down these. I think the ones above here, I pulled out the whatchamacallit, the source link from here. So for example, where it says line sample, I don't actually know what that means. So let's see if we can find the puzzle here. No. Find lines. No. Wait, what? All right, now I'm confused again. Or is that my own puzzle? Or is that something somebody gave me? I don't know. Do we see lines here? I mean, we searched for lines and we don't find anything. Well, let's take a look. Lines sample. It might not be a real puzzle. It might be something I put together quickly just to try. Which we probably... Wait, lights move? Knights move? Did I? I think I might have been trying to build my own sample here. I'm gonna just remove it then. Doesn't have a solution, so that's suspicious. Okay, anti-night, anti-consecutive. Anti-night, anti-consecutive. That's a real puzzle. So for that, we should be able to find consecutive. We should find a source link. Anti-night, anti-consecutive with the source link from a blog, no less. Okay. Is that a Sudoku link? No. How long ago was this puzzle made or published? Oh, my wire fell off. Daily League group on Facebook, anti-night, 2013. Is that really 2013? Because that definitely predates Sudoku then. Okay, so they set it in here, which means we don't really have a comparable link. I'm curious now if this puzzle actually exists, because I've seen some puzzles like that. 2 days as a part of my contribution. Okay, so Rishipuri is probably Rishipuri. Now, I don't know if this person actually publishes under this name on the Discord. So it might be like searching for that name on the Discord is probably not going to find anything. Maybe. So he is still... Oh, I was going to say he's still posting today, but I don't know if he's still posting today. But it might be interesting to look at his most recent puzzle. Do we have date references? So he's publishing for World Sudoku Championship. So it's possible that there are puzzles of his that do exist as SudokuPad data. I just want to use that. That doesn't look like SudokuPad. Basically, I want to see if I can find a modern puzzle by this person to see what their preferences, how they want to be, how they prefer to be credited. And I prefer to do it, you know, align it with an existing puzzle. So for example, if I do this and then say contains Rishi, maybe, because obviously people often use different pseudonyms as their setters, as their setter labels. Okay, Rishi Puri as an author. Okay, so there are Sudoku Pet puzzles. I don't know if they're made by him, but there are Sudoku Pet puzzles. And by puzzles, I mean a singular one. But it could be that they haven't published in many years. So it could be that they predate my data here. There are 3, and none of them are with short URLs. It's interesting. So maybe they were experimenting to see if SudokuPet is worthwhile using for them, and they maybe didn't like it. But this non-consecutive puzzle isn't here at all. Okay, well, I'm gonna put Rishi Puri in here as the author. But other than that, I haven't really found something more useful. And if I search for thermal Sudoku, okay, then we get a source link. And maybe from the source link, we'll get a SudokuPad link. Because it's obviously good to compare to real SudokuPad data to make sure that my converter does it correctly. Okay. That's the really old stuff. But it does exist. Okay, so we can add that here as SudokuPad. The problem with really old stuff is that they won't have titles. Yeah, there's no title. Oop. Wrong button. Get me out of here. Exit full screen. Escape did not work. But maybe Simon has the title or the author in here. So it's called Thermo Sudoku, 2 words. I get rid of sample and I'll put in the correct author name. Sam Kappelman Lines. Okay. I probably won't have all these samples in there. It's in the moment, just while I'm still working on this ISS thing. It's handy to have a bunch of different, like have his own samples in here to help me to test out the coverage of how many of the oh yeah, that's I'm not gonna find a author for this, am I? Ah, wait, maybe it is credited on the Wikipedia page. Who knows? It's possible. Although it is just an image by L2G. More details. Sudoku puzzle by L2G. Standardized layout. So is that the closest thing to an author name I have? Very easy Sudoku puzzle with the natural most automatic tactics. Who created this puzzle though? I don't know. But if no, I want to save this. If I go here and then load classic Sudoku example, and I'll probably need to resort these. Like the classic should probably be at the top. And then they should get more complex further down, not start with the most complex. So if I do this, right, but if I just, yeah, that's fine. Sample is probably not. Sudoku puzzle by, yeah, we'll just call it classic Sudoku, that's fine. And then going further down, I think now these I labeled myself, so I probably want to replace these makeshift labels with what's actually in the sample data. But for some reason, oh Oh, wait, no, these are the ones I was making, so they won't be in here. So if I go to here... Ah, no, this one... I think this one I found on the Discord. I might have to remove that one, because I should have kept some sort of... This one is actually mine. That's actually literally my first puzzle. This one I think was one that I took from a link. Or not. Wait. God damn it. I changed the wrong one probably. Spin codes first. Yeah, so that's the one we want to remove. And then ISS demo 1. That's the one I made. And then ISS demo 2 is probably another one that I got from the Discord. But let's double check. Yeah. And then this one might also be. Yeah. So I think I'm going to remove that. Let's see if we have something with entropic lines. Like this one, maybe. So if I put this in here, constraint solution, let's see if we can track down a Sudoku pad link. That would make my life a little easier. There we go. Sudoku pad. Right. And then from here, I want to grab that. We need an author and rules. So that's our author. Sujoiku. Entropic connections is the name. And the rules text is going to be this. To there. And let's normalize this. So digit case, so we'll call this cage sums. Just trying to avoid using the word killer. Don't really want, that's not really a great word to have, I think. So if I go to interrupt connections now. Okay. Cage sums do not repeat. Digits of the cage do not repeat, and some to the clue on top left. Okay, entropic lines. Did I remove my entropic lines right up? No. So, yeah, I do want to rewrite these. I want to use this also as a place to develop standardized rule text. And then the adjacent digital number is difference of at least 5, so that's whispers. Whisper 5. Yeah, with the whisper lines the same. I want to move to a nomenclature that removes the national connotations. So instead of German whispers, we call them whisper 5, etc., right? So we have entropic lines. So that's our entropic lines. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Green line, that's the whisper 5. And then digits joined by a 3 dot have a 1 to 3 ratio. 3 dot. Oh, that's a constraint I don't even support yet. What was this called? Entropic connections. Okay, we'll have to add that one in then if we want to keep that as a sample. Where is it? Entropic connections. A 3 dot. What's this called? Cage, whisper, entropic line. 1, 2, 3. Neighboring digits joined by a 3 dot have a 1 to 3 ratio. Not all dots are given. So I think that's a ratio dot something. Sudoku pad ratio 3. I don't know how I would Google that though. Let's see if we can find a puzzle that uses these. maybe with a default styling instead. Gray dot, actual ratios. I think it's generally formatted as a white dot with a 3 in it. 3:1. If I do this, can I find something? I think this looks promising. Lucky Whispers, Kropke pair, distant black dots are 3:1 ratio. So how about we name it, we'll call it Kropke dots. And then we'll just leave out the generalized definition and simply says digits joined by a dot containing 3 are 3:1. 1-3, 3:1. What's the standard ordering there? 3:1 or 1-3? 3:1 seems like. I mean, I'm just pulling that out of my butt. Not all dots are given. Sure. I don't think you want to put a dot inside the braces there, but maybe you do. I am not certain. So, Tropic Connections now is missing a particular constraint. Do I want to implement entropic lines first? Tropic Connections. We've got this, we've got that. Puzzle, that, and that. Let us have a look at how this one is formatted. Let me let me catch up on the chat. Chat up on the catch. It's author field on the side you're viewing. LTG Tim something. I want to solve your first puzzle. Can I have a link? In a minute. Yeah, I'll publish this and then it'll be there. And he says it's. I don't think it's humanable though. I just plonked in things and the solution count went down to 1. Yeah, I don't think I'll keep this list. Like once this importer gets published, I'll think I replace the examples with puzzles submitted specifically for the purpose of being examples. Probably some I'm just having them in there for internal testing for now. Well, there's no such thing as changing visuals. Like I'm defining the visuals here, right? They're not really being changed. There's no changing, right? Because the visual isn't defined. Like I'm not gonna define a 3:1 dot with a green dotted line suddenly. Like these aren't Sudoku pad puzzles, right? Let us implement the missing constraint, which was, I think, I have to be a bit careful though, because I think the way the binary format is defined is actually a little. Like it's almost like a custom constraint, I think. So if I look at this, right? I don't know, is this a composite constraint? Is it a consecutive pairs? Create a constraint between 2 cells by providing a custom JavaScript function. So if I take, like, do this. And I'll change it to... Okay, I don't see binary here. It's not a layout constraint. If I do custom binary, optional, consecutive pairs, all pairs. If I look at these two, well, let's add the function and see what happens, right? So constraint binary. Yeah, we might have to exclude this sample then, because I don't know if I want to support his custom function thing. Like, I'm definitely not going to support JavaScript functions in constraint code. It's more like that the 3:1 constraint is a standard constraint. So if I can get it to work, that would be fine. Yeah, I'm already seeing I want to be able to specify the example here. Constraint binary, right. What am I supposed to do with this? Is this base 64 encoding? Is that a base 64 encoded string? No. I'll have a quick look, but I don't want to parse. I don't want to learn how this parsing works. I'll be honest. I don't think that's within the scope. So, binary constraint. Constraint, composite constraint, Stochastic constraint. Binary. Custom binary. Allowed categories, custom binary. If fn to key. Memorize function key. Like, I don't know how the parser parses this. It has the two cells. It has %3a. This is URL encoded, right? Decode, right component. Is this just the formatting? Or is that actually a name that that's meaningful? Because the problem is it doesn't show me. Like, it doesn't load the constraint data into this. Like, I can add one. I can remove it, but I can't edit it, which is global constraint. It's not a global constraint. I don't think it's a line. Well, could it be a line? I don't think so. I don't think I want to support that. In fact, I don't know. Maybe I can't support it, right? I mean, I can convert it statically for this one puzzle, which doesn't make sense. Like, I can do a 1, 2, 3 dot. Because I don't actually want to implement the support. Like, I'm just generating Sudoku puzzles, so they just have the solution and they render the visual. So I could statically detect this specific thing, but then I'm guessing whatever this encoding is, it could end up being different. I might have to talk to Sai about this, so let's not include this one. I think the only reason I wanted to include it in the first place is because I wanted something with entropic lines. So, is there something else with an entropic constraint? I don't think so. Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Let's leave that out for now, and let's get rid of that sample. That's okay. I also have to check what the remaining 2 demos were. I think these were also taken from the Discord. Anti-concentric entropic. Yeah, I'm gonna remove these just because I don't have access to the setters. Sven codes first. I think that's how you would spell that. If the Sven code's name gets possessivized, then it'll be that. It's a pity that we don't have certain constraints represented here at the moment, but I think that's fine. All right, let's have a look at what's left in here. Okay, that's fine. I mean, this is also supposed to be, this is not like a perfect implementation. This is literally just like a first draft. And I don't think, because my git diff, no, I'm looking at the wrong repo. My git diff here is, okay, no, there we are, okay. So it's quite a bit of an update, mostly this rename thing. Yeah, I mean, it's not something that's heavily in use or anything like that. Do I want to add loading an example? Yeah, I think so. I want to be able to link to an example. It seems a little unnecessary, but it's also not a huge deal. So, query string. We're doing the query string parsing over here. So I want to be able to say, we'll probably want to do this higher up here. And then we want to be able to say something like, which example was that? I don't know. Let's find out. And load puzzle equals boom. Like if we do this, right? And then we'll say load examples, but load puzzle data. Console.log load puzzle. So that should get us something here, right? And similarly to this, okay. If I now look at type info dot puzzles find load puzzle, something like that. And then if I do that here, obviously we got nothing, right? So let load puzzle equal. Oh. If I do this like that, and then that. Hey guys, hey Poochie! How was your walk? Hey Toby, you had a good time? You went down to the bay? No, on the beach. Oh yeah, the beach. Had a good time? How was the beach now? Is it rough? I guess there aren't any people now, eh? Yeah? Alright. It gets us the puzzle data or not. So we can say if this gets us a puzzle, we'll load that. So we'll say this or that. Does that make sense? But it doesn't switch to that. Dip, 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 dip. I'm almost tempted to run. Oh no, this won't help. I was gonna say I want to run this through this function, but this function doesn't actually change that value. Actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say if load puzzle do a thing, else don't do the thing and just load the puzzle. Right. And if we have a load puzzle, we want to change this, which we got to do via. I hope I remember how to do this. JavaScript change value of select element. we just change value? Yeah, we just change value. Okay, so if I just say dot value equals qs.load puzzle, boom. What does that look like? Hey, that works. Query string undefined shouldn't be there, but it is because I'm not filtering out all these other. So that'll break every time. The reason that's currently breaking is because I'm relying on this. And every time I want to add an arbitrary query string, this would have to change. So I don't actually want to do that. So I kind of just want to include... I think I can leave that in there. And I want to make sure qs.title exists. Or label. QS title or label. What if we do this? QS.label. Actually, we should probably prefer label because it gives more control. And then title if label doesn't exist. And then here we'll just say, hey, we want this not to be undefined or empty. And now it shouldn't include that. And if I'm here, it does include it. And that now should mean we don't need to do that anymore. And this should also update that. And then after that, we actually want to load the data as well. We could technically load whatever that is. Ah, no, because that can... I was going to say I thought we would know that this would be the query string puzzle, but no, because it could be any of the examples, right? So now I can link, and I should also be able to make this and redirect equals long. If I do that, it gets this. Okay. So now, I think I have done all the things I wanted to do in this session. Let's clean it up just a little bit. And again, this is not a heavily used part of the site, so hopefully I can just push this update without having to worry too much about that. I need to... I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this. Okay, so we're just going to do this. Add all these in here. In. Come on. That's just some cleanup. Convert ISS. We've added all of that. We've done all of this. And we've added a bunch, well, a few things here. Not too much. And a little bit of that. We changed that in all of the other ones. Okay. So, and ISS format to puzzle importer. Right. Now, if I do this, this is all in the demo folder. I should be able to deploy just that. And I don't know if I have a deploy for that, a deploy script for that. Server pages. So that's everything in www, which we don't actually want to do. So we probably want to do something like this. And go down one level deeper into demo. Wait, so that has a trading slash. Oh, so demo trading slash. This doesn't have a trailing slash. We actually don't want to do that. Ah, this has the trailing slash. All right. So we kind of want to do just this, I believe. If I do that, is that going to work? Maybe. Yep. Let's add our... Ooh, where's this coming from? Convert classic Sudoku has an output. Don't really want that. All right. I shouldn't fiddle with that because I haven't touched these anyways. But if I go here, I'll do this, and I'll maybe do something like this. Now, the problem is some of these aren't actually very easy. Many of these, the ones I've tried, were actually really hard. So, I'd like to do one. I traditionally always do one to test, but I've been bitten before with puzzles that were too hard for me. And my own I haven't solved yet either. I've solved this one. Not even. Oh, that's like an old one that I remember. Let's solve this one. So if I do this, right? This is not on beta. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oop. Right. And this can't be 1, so 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. And then this can't be a 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. We're not excluding 9s from any of the ends, though, are we? Oh, yeah, I think I remember how that went. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna do these fully marked. I should have done them all fully marked, to be honest. Ah. This can only be a 3. So that can only be a 1. 6, 7, 8. 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7. 5, 6. So that's a 5. 2. 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. 8, 6, 7, 5, 4, 6. 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, wait, these need to be 4. Wait, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I'm wrong. I thought these were 3, but it's only because I've done the 2 that had only 3 options because they are seeing a 1 on their first, on the thermobulb. So I made a wrong conclusion. I'm glad I didn't check. So I would have spoiled things a little bit. Although I am not too bothered about that, as you guys probably have figured out by now. So that gets rid of the first digit. That also gets rid of the first. That narrows things down quite a bit. And goes the other way down this way. So that should be correct now. Yes. Oh, and here we got rid of the 5. And that gets rid of the 4 here. Ah, my nose is itching. Sorry. I'm spitting with my nose. Okay. So... well, we got 1 here. We've got 1s here. And here. And here. And here. Okay, and then we see I see quite a few 9s, so let's see if there's something very limiting for the 9s. Actually, maybe I didn't finish this one. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure anymore. 2s. 2s over here. 2s over here. These aren't 2. Okay, 8s. Oh, no. 3s. Huh. Yeah, maybe I was being cocky here. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. Never be cocky. My meme always used to say, never be cocky. All right, let's be a bit smarter. The problem is they're all diagonal, so we very rarely would see 2 cells from one to another, like except in kind of these kind of configurations here. But it's usually low-high. It's very, very rarely, like these may have an overlapping digits. These may. 5s are a little constraint because there's 5 over here. And it's a middling digit that can't be in the beginning and the end of the thermi. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 is up here. And the 1 is up here too, but not there. So the 1 is here. Oh, it's not here either. Wait a second. Did I not check the ones? I guess I didn't. Okay. Ones are here. That's a 1. That's a 1. That's a 1. That's a more. Alright, 9's here. Alright. Anything? Also, there's a lot of 7s, 8s, 8, 9, so maybe there's something with 8s that's a little helpful somewhere. Ah, yeah, wait, we have 8s here. Okay. Oh, 6, 7, 8, that's triple, that's what made that. Okay, that's actually helpful. Anything else like that? 6, 7, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9, that's almost a triple. 7, 9, 7, 8, 7, 8. Can these be the same? I don't see why not. Like, obviously can't both... Well, they could both be... If they were both 8, these would both be 9. That would be 9, that would be 9, that would be 9. That's not a problem. If they're both 7, 6, and 6, they can't both be 7. So at least one of them is 8, which means at least one of these is 9. Just means that's not a 9, but that's not super helpful. They can't both be 7. One of them is 8. But can they both be 8? That's the question. Okay, the reason they can't both be 7 is if they're both 7, both of these would be 6, and there's no space for 6s here. Now, if they're both 8, have an 8 here. These both would be 9. That's would be 9. That'd be 9 here. 9 here. 9 here. And somewhere around here, which is possible. And the 9 is here. Doesn't really help much. But these triples here make me think now, oh wait, it also means we have a triple here in the middle digits, not with a 6. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Now that means there's a 5 here, which gets us 6, 7, 8, 9 here. That's something. That answers a couple of questions, actually. And in fact, it resolves a whole bunch, and maybe that's all we needed. Okay, I don't think I figured that out last time. I don't remember how I solved it. I did solve it, but I don't think I solved it this way. And I don't think it was a satisfying thing either. Or maybe I stalled. Maybe I didn't finish it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By the way, I'm winding the stream down, if you haven't noticed. Just testing this. This is live. I'll probably post a link in the Discord channel. With a request for testing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5. Nope. 5. Nope. 5. 3. We're still on the track, right? Yeah, we're still on track. 2, 7, 8. Here. 5 there. 7, 8. So that one goes with a 4. And then these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Definitely has a 5 in here. No 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 8, 7, 8. So 9 is here. Okay, what do we got here? 3, 4, 6. And then these are 2 and 8. 2 and 8. Interesting. Does that mean anything for our 8 distribution? Yeah, these outer rows and columns have been actually surprisingly helpful. So maybe I should look at this one next. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Not what I was hoping for, if I'm entirely honest. All right, that's not great. Ah, 2. We got 2 over here. And almost something 2 adjacent over here. Well, 3s. That can't be a 3. That can't be a 3. Not too exciting. 9's over here. 8's. Since we had quite a bit of success with 8 so far. But not now. Ah, wait, 3, 4, 6. No. What's 6's? 6 over here. 6, 7, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait. 5, 6, 7. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. Let's fill in these. It's a bit ambitious, I suppose. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But if I do this as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't really get much out of that. 6, 3, 4, 6, 6, 8, 4, 6, 8, 3, 5. 1's over here. 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 2, 3, 7, 8, 8, 9. I don't see anything obvious. 7's. Nope. 5's. There's some limitations on 5's. It's a couple of places. 3, 4, 5. I mean, there's atrocious pencil marking. I'm not really playing it. I'm just trying to see what sticks, which is a silly way to play. 2, 3, 2, 8, 3, 8. No, 3 8s. 2. I feel like it's got to be either 2 or 8. Like, we had a lot of help with 8s up here. One of the bottom row is helpful. Maybe this column. I mean, we've only got 3 digits in it. It's not great. But maybe with the thermos, those 3 digits might be quite meaningful. 4, 6, 7, 8. 4, 6, 7, 8, 3, 5. There's so little interaction though. 6, 7, 8. 3, 6, 7, 8. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8, 7, 8. 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. 6, 3, 4, 6, 3, 4. 3, 4. My lips are so annoyingly dry. It's really bothering me. All right, let's see what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, I'm just marking freaking 6 digits. It's not really helpful. 7, 8, 6, 8, 6, 7, 8, 4, 6, 7, 8. We have no constraint on this 6, for example. What about like if this is a 7, that's a 7, that becomes a 7. Does that mean anything? 7 here, 7 there, 7 here, 7, 7, and then here, I guess. Not particularly insightful, I suppose. 7, 8. 8, 9. 8, 9. Is that the problem? This is an 8. If it goes 7, it's a 9. 8, no. This is a 7. Then it becomes 8, and that becomes a 9. No. 7, 6, 5. Is that a problem? 7, 6, 5. 5. That's a 5. That's a 3. That's a 5, 4, 3, 1. 5, 4, 3, 1. 5, 4, 3, 1. 5. That's a 5. That's a 4. That becomes a 3. That becomes a 3. That's a 5, that's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 4. Wait, 5? That's a 5. 4, 3. 5 here. Yeah. That's a 5. 3, 4. That's a 5. That's a 5. 5, 6, 7. 5 here. These don't have to be 1, 5, and 1, not 5, right? It could be 3, 6, 7, no problem. Is there something else with the 5s going on? I said earlier that they're a middling number and they can't be at the tips and in the bulbs, but so far that doesn't seem to help too much. Like putting a 5 here to exclude a 5 from here and here doesn't do anything. If I put a 5 here, I get a 5 here and here and here. Means nothing. What about the 4s, like these two? Is that a problem when neither can be a 4? Not really, because that's just these two. If that's a 3, that's a 2. Not very exciting. Not very exciting, is it? I with the hidden triple there, I did a better job than I think I was doing last time. I don't really remember how far I got, where I got stuck last time. I don't know, what was it? I don't think I was playing it on stream. I was doing quite a few, implementing quite a few of these constraints during the week. 2, 8, 3, 4, 6, 3, 4. So this is the same as that. It's one of these two. It's one of these two. These are either here. These are on these 3 cells on the top row. Can't be here. What 4s? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4, 5. That's a 4. That's a 5. And what's a 5 here? That's a 4. That's a 5. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 here doesn't. And puts a 7 here. That doesn't mean anything either. What you doing? I'm finishing soon. We're gonna have dinner together soon? Yeah. Are you preparing it? No, yeah, much sooner. I'll finish in the next 10 minutes. Suspiciously quiet. I just heard a wine glass clinking. All right, 9. That's 9. Are these two connected? Oh, wait, they're slightly connected, right? Ah, wait, didn't I have something through here? Maybe I have the same problem here. Like, does this being, if this is a 7, that's an 8, that's a 9, that's a 6. But the dark, this is lower. It's not quite the same, is it? It's only these two can't see this one. That's a 7. That's an 8. That's a 7. That'd be an 8, 9. That's a 7. That's a 6. But it doesn't force this into anything. And this being a 9, does that do anything? That's a 9. Really? Not really. What about if that's an 8? Then, yeah, I'm curious if there's like a crosstalk here in this square. 8, 7, 8. If that's an 8, that's an 8. That's an 8, 7, 8. If that's a 6. If that's an 8, that's an 8. If that's a 7, that's a 6. If that's an 8, that's an 8. If that's a 7, that's a 6. So this always either sees a 6 or an 8. Wait, if it always sees, wait. If that's an 8, 7, no, sorry. If that's a 7, 8, 6. If that's a 7, that's a 6. Otherwise, that's an 8. So this, if that's a 7, that's a 6. If that's an 8, 7, That's a 7. That's a 6. 7, 8, 6. So if that's a 7, both these two become 6s. And they see this. So 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. But I don't see a problem with any of that. That's if this is a 7. If this is an 8, it's a 7. That's not an 8. This is an 8. 7, 8. This is an 8. This is an 8. That's a 9. That's a 7. 8, 7. 8 or 9. 8, 9. What am I missing? It's like it's some connection between these. But I'm not brainy enough to see it easily. And not diligent enough to figure it out. So I might have to skip ahead. I might just... Shall I use the bifurcation? The evil bifurcation? This is 7s. 3, 4, 7, 8. 3, 4, 7, 8. So, I always want to color things. There are some minor dependencies, mostly because of the pairs that are getting set up here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can I limit this any other way? Is there any other hidden somethings in here? 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 7, 8, 4, 6, 7, 8. 9s go here. 1s and 4, 6, 7, 8, 4, 6, 7, 8. So either this is a 6 or this is an 8. 6 or 8. Does that help us? This is a 6. 6. I have a feeling this can't be a 6. I don't know why. 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 8. Can this be an 8? If this is an 8, that's a 6. That's a 7, 8. It's a 6. It's a 4. 6, 5, 4, 3. 6. Wait, what did I say? This is a 7. Oh, if this is an 8. 8, 8. 6, 8, 8. 7. 8, 8. Right, let's say. Where could I place the 8s in this weird trial and error combo? That's a 6. 5, 4, 3, 1. It's not constrained at all. If this is the 8, on the other hand, then that becomes... Wait, if this is the 8... It's the 8, that's a 7. 8 can be anywhere here. That's the 8. That's the 9, that's an 8. 8, 8. 8. 8. That can't be the 8. We'll go there. We'll go there. This isn't the 8. This is 6 now. Alright, I'm gonna just fill something in. So the most constrained would be this being low. Right? That'll end up like that. Yeah, and then we have a 7, 8, and an 8, and then that already doesn't work. So this can't be a 7. But how did I get, wait, 6, 5. How did I get this down so low? 3. That'd be a 7, 8 here, 7, 8 here. That can be a 7, that can be a 7, 8. That would be a 1. Okay, wait. So it's as bad as if this is a 4, 3, this has to be a 1, which means we have too many 7, 8. So that can't be a 4. And that should be correct so far. Okay, it's barely a bifurcation. Tiny little bit of trial and error, maybe. I mean, give me a break. Not that good. All right, at least I'll have a chance of getting to lunch. I mean, to dinner. Oh, 8, 7, 6, 8, 9, 9, 6. So that's gotta be a 7. Right. 3, 5 pair. 6, 7 pair. Ooh, all right. Look at this. 3, 5 pair. So no 3s here. 3s here. 4, 8 there. It's a 1 there. 7 there. 3, 4 with a 1 there. 3, 4 puts a 6 there. 7, 6, 4, 4, 6, 8, 9, 3, 7. 3, 4. Okay, now I think this was semi-logical, and we're getting somewhere. 4, 5, 3, 3, 4, 3, 4, 6, 5, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 4, 5, 1, 8, 6, 5, 1, 5, 9, 8, and 9. Yay, all right. Okay, so the puzzle importer is working. So if I add this to that, that should link to my puzzle. Okay. I'm going to post that in the chat for Chameleon. Hopefully you will take a look. Ooh. Ah. All right, I'm gonna do that. So for anybody else who's interested, it's at sudokupad.app/demo/puzzleimporter.html. Please take a look. And let me know what you think, what I should fix. It's not finished by a long shot. This is gonna be one of those things that's gonna be never finished. But the main idea of it is to outsource or to remove certain complexity of code outside of SudokuPad. So all the format conversion and maybe some basic editor features, I can bring them into this tool and experiment a little bit, and I don't have to worry about testing with the SudokuPad code base at all times and all this stuff, because that's one of the issues, is that this is a separate code. This doesn't affect the server. It doesn't affect the SudokuPad. So I can't break SudokuPad by breaking this. So I can iterate on it more quickly. It's a separate deployment process, so I can upload things more quickly. So hopefully that'll be a useful tool in the near future. In the meantime, thanks for hanging out. Take care. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.